Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, depending on when you're listening. Welcome to the 91st of hopefully many episodes of bardadvice, a D&D slash TTRPG slash nerd-centric podcast where I, Charles Chaz Yazik, the DM, the bard, however you may know me, do my best to answer any questions that you might have for the show. Welcome back, everyone. We were off last week so that I could study. And ultimately, I actually had to end up rescheduling my test for the end of the month anyway, so that's going to just be something that's a little bit further off than I'd hoped, but that's okay. So, before we get started, we like to do a couple of things at the top of the hour. So, the first of which is to remind everyone of the email for the show, which is bardadvice@gmail.com. Send all your questions, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques, etc. to bardadvice@gmail.com. If you want to get some merch, do so over at manshorts.com or over at krakendice.com. Get yourself one of our 4 sets that we release with Kraken this year. If you want to contribute to anything that I'm doing musically, you can do so directly via PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, all of which are Yazik, Yahzick. I'm always working on music stuff. Also, at the top, like to thank all of our patrons, members, super chatters. Remind everybody to please like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, rate the podcast, and join the Discord. Also, Pirate about the 48. I'm going to be talking about that in a minute. We won't know who won, I think, for like another week or so, but I will talk about that in just a second. So, there are 2 things that I have on for Art Corner this week. And the first of which is a project that I just finished up last week. It is called Satisfactory Music, an AI album for Fix-It pioneers. So I don't know if anyone here plays Satisfactory, but I've been playing it lately with my friends and having a lot of fun. And in that fun, my friends and I that have been playing have put together with Suno AI a full-length album, all Satisfactory themed songs. It's 37 tracks. It's an hour and a half, and it's really good. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. So if you like Satisfactory, or maybe even if you don't, if you want to go check it out, that's over on my YouTube channel. So about the 48-hour film festival. So they did the screenings, and I think that the film turned out well. So the name of the film that was Woof, and those are all of our nominations. So we were nominated in 19 categories, which I think is almost all of them. Best use of character, best use of prop, best use of genre, makeup, special effects, costumes, set design, best actor, best actress, best supporting actor and actress, best ensemble acting, best score, sound design, cinematography, writing, editing, and directing. So that's always a really fun feeling and just nice and kind of validating just to get just to be nominated. There's a lot of really talented filmmakers in Jacksonville. It is more, I think, of like a film-centric type city than maybe people realize. Maybe more on the independent side. But yeah, Jacksonville's more artistic, I think, than people might realize. And so that's good. It's validating. And we won't know, I think, the results, like I said, for another week or so. Typically what they do is they have 3 nights of screening where they screen the films and they do the nominations, and then they do a final screening of all of the top films and then announce the awards. So I'll definitely keep everybody in the loop as to that. And, depending on how it goes, we may not be able to put it up for a while, but as soon as we're able to, we will. Okay, so that's all for Art Corner. Just wanted to do those 2 things, the Satisfactory Music and the film festival. Oh, and before I forget it, since I do have a plug for it, just a reminder of everybody for the other podcast that I'm on Bartificial Intelligence with Songaria on Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and it's on Songaria's channel. That's just really another piece of Art Corner, I suppose. It's a show where Song and I do make AI music with people and chat, and it's real fun. It's a blast. Suno has new tools and stuff lately. Notably, you can replace segments of the song, which is fantastic. It's like our first real editing tool. So, all right, let's get into it because we do have some questions this evening. There are 7 of them. And the first question of the evening, as says the list of names, is from Rob. And Rob asks, hello, Bard. It's being reported that there are some changes to some items in the upcoming DMG. Notably buffs to the bag of holding and the handy haversack. The bag of holding now weighs only 5 pounds instead of 15, and the new haversack holds roughly 10 times its previous limit. What do you think about this? Does it defeat the purpose? Thanks. Well, thank you for the question, Rob. Yeah, so I don't know too much about the haversack, if I'm honest. I've always gone with bag of holding. Could somebody in chat explain the difference between that quickly? Because I know that it's a silly one, but this is what I wrote about it. It does make the whole concept of inventory a little silly, but I also suspect that the kind of players who love using bags of holding and handy haversacks probably fill them up pretty quickly. And if the haversack now can hold close to 1,000 pounds, it's going to lend itself to some pretty funny possibilities with the barbarian carrying the party around in a bag, perhaps for some, presenting an opportunity for a Trojan horse situation. Haversack is a backpack with pockets for different stuff. Bag of holding should weigh less than a pound. No way. You got to have some trade-off. Hey, even in Satisfactory, when you make a biomass burner to produce power, you've got to power it. So, been super busy. Need to come up on those. Oh, yeah. Oh, and that's actually a great point, too, before I get more into the answer to this question. On the Discord, Ron's been doing the Lonesome Night in October reads, so that's cool. You should check that out as well. But yeah, I mean, it does make it seem a little silly. I will say, and I'll probably reference Satisfactory a lot just because it's on my brain, but on the server that we play on, we have kind of modded inventory. So it's pretty much unlimited effectively, which is fantastic. But in the regular game, in my solo game, you have a very limited inventory and it kind of sucks. So it's funny that I would say this because I'm kind of the what's in your inventory guy as a player and a DM, but I don't know how important it is to what's going on, what your carrying capacity and stuff is. I mean, I guess if you were using that kind of thing directly as some sort of an obstacle, but just in general, and most of the DMs that I've had have never really been too picky about oh, how much are you carrying? Bag of holding is basically an interdimensional sack. It's made out of leather. It shouldn't weigh that much. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, listen. In 3.5, portable rams weigh as much as a tent. So, a spy sack seems like a regular sack, but when you use a keyword, you access its bag of holding space. That's pretty cool. Anything that makes tracking encumbrance easier is a plus. Yeah, no doubt. I don't know. I feel like if I were to ever again DM a long-term campaign, especially with these new rules, with the DMG, at least where the space, where the game is at the moment mechanically, it's just as long as it's not insane, as long as you're not trying to carry around a city in your pocket, then whatever. I'm not going to worry too much about it. If you think it is a Mary Poppins carpet bag, I guess it could weigh 5 pounds. Yeah, I also I kind of like that just for the RP of, just carrying a briefcase and it's just a Mary Poppins bag. It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, if the haversack is holding, what was the buff? I think it was its side pockets used to hold 20 and its main compartment held 80 pounds. And now the side pockets hold 200 and the main holds 500. So that's, I mean, that's what? 900 pounds right there. That's a lot. But I don't know. I'd probably allow it just as to see how it would be used. Because there was always was the limit of bag of holding always 500 pounds? In 3.5, was it? In my current campaign, I was toting around a headless goblin for 4 sessions because I forgot I collected him for magical examination of the next town. Whoops. Yeah, that sounds like... Are you a warlock? That sounds like warlock behavior. Can you put a haversack inside a haversack? No. Haven't we had this conversation about, portable holes? Doesn't that have all the same rules? putting a haversack inside a bag of holding, or vice versa. Don't you create a portable hole if you put a bag of holding into a bag of holding? I don't think those were the rules in 3.5. But yeah, and you know, at that point, it's like, what are we doing? How much stuff is it that you need? What are you carrying? Is my question. And it's like, if you have that much equipment on you, then maybe this is a campaign where you're kind of like in one spot for a while. Druid, but the goblin had some crazy magic runes all over him that were linked to the BBEG. Oh, well, yeah, you know, what are you going to do? You got, I mean, you know, you need to, well, don't forget to examine it. That should be your first order of business next session. You create a black hole and the campaign ends. A skeleton army. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing to have in your inventory, I guess, for whenever you need to deploy it. All right. Well, I think that there's an answer there for you, Rob. I appreciate the question. It's, you know, I suspect that there will be a lot of that as we get closer to the release date of the DMG, as well as just like when it's available to the public, just like we've had with the PHB and stuff, as to like what the changes are. And, you know, it's people aren't going to be happy, and you really can't help that. And they have their reasons, and most of them are legitimate these days. So, all right, let's move on. We've got 6 more questions this evening. The next question is from Yokai Lover. And Yokai Lover asks, "Hi, Chaz. I hope you and the Man Shorts crew are doing all right with the hurricanes. I stumbled across this question on IG of all places and thought you might have fun with it. What D&D class would you pick for each position of a fantasy football team?" By the way, just a quick note before I do this. This was not exactly what she sent as far as what would be on the list. I kind of edited it slightly to afford room for every class. But so, i.e., quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex, defense, head coach, assistant coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. Thanks for all your work. Thank you very much. And thank you for the question. That this was a fun exercise. Good job to the Jags for their win. We're terrible. We're terrible. And our last game was a loss. So maybe we'll get out of here with a top pick. Who knows? All right. So, yeah, I've got Wizard as the head coach. So let me go through the ones that I've got. This is also like not exactly how, because like with fantasy, it's typically just the up to the defense. But I added the coaches, like I said, just to kind of make it work for numbers. So Paladin is the quarterback. Good leadership skills. Divine sense would help a lot in the pocket. And if he does get hurt, he can heal himself. Running backs are the Barbarian and the Rogue. I like the idea of having a power back in the Barbarian, someone tanky. The Rogue gives you speed and versatility, good at dodging tackles, spin moves, etc. Wide receivers are Ranger and Monk. Monk's Step of the Wind would make them a really fast wideout. Ranger's got primeval awareness. Tight end is the Fighter. Need someone that is tough and athletic, someone that can go on the attack but also get on the line and protect if need be. Flex is the Druid, as they can wild shape, which that's just kind of more of like a funny play on words. In fantasy football, the flex is effectively either, you know, kind of whatever you want. It's kind of like a wild card position that you can put anything into, quarterback, running back. The defense is the Cleric, powerful healing tank. Coaching staff is all the spellcasters. Wizard's the head coach, Bard is the assistant coach, Warlock is on offensive coordinator on the attack, and then Sorcerer on the defense. So that's what I got. That's what I have for the Paladin as defensive coordinator. Yeah, that's probably Ryan Fitzmagic, the Wizard QB. Awful Evil Paladin for head coach. Artificer? Yeah, I don't typically include the Artificer, but maybe the Artificer would be, yeah, I was thinking special teams coach, or maybe even the kicker. But Bard is the assistant coach, because I feel like that's a very kind of Bardy position. But then again, I guess you could make the argument of that a bard's versatility would prepare it for the flex position. Yeah, we can make the artificer the kicker. That's no problem. And then maybe the artificers created like a homunculus machine that does the kicking for them. And it's like got a 99.996% accuracy rate or something. Oh, man. It's not been a nice football season. But yeah, I like the receivers and the running backs. Strong smash mouth running back, and then also like a quick evasive one. Let's hit him with the 1-2 punch. Know what I mean? All right. Well, thank you for the question. That was a fun one. The next question. Oh, this one's really interesting. I'm excited to hear, and you know, all of my questions are interesting, but this one will be really fun. I'll be interested to hear what chat says to this. So, all right, check this out. This next question is from Trevor, and Trevor asks, "Hey, Yaz and chat, the BBEG, whoops, spelled it wrong. The BBEG invited my players to a dinner party under the flag of peace to parlay. Long story short, they went full looter murder hobo, and 2 NPCs were killed while being hunted through the castle. I had an NPC lead them to a luck blade in the dungeon with 1 use of the wish spell. They used it to wish themselves back in time 2 hours to before they pissed off the BBEG, with their memories intact so they could be more diplomatic and less murder hobo at dinner. I liked it, so I allowed it, with the caveat that I reserve the right to monkey's paw this wish. Do you or chat have any ideas for fun consequences to the space-time continuum?" Thank you for the question, Trevor. This sounds big fun. So, first of all, this is awesome. And I really hope that you had fun chasing them through the castle, because that's what we call karma. As for repercussions, chat, please feel free to put your opinions into the chat for Trevor, but I will give my little monologue of ideas here. There are tons of directions that you could go with this. You could make it a thing where those other versions of themselves still exist somewhere in a different or even on the same timeline, and they have to fight or defeat their former selves. You could easily make it a thing where everyone's memories stay intact. So maybe the BBEG's already pissed and they have to take like a very different, more diplomatic approach to the dinner. Or even if it's not like all of everybody else, but maybe like one seemingly innocuous NPC also remembers everything. And so that just adds a layer of tension to everything. Perhaps there's just some instability in the fabric of space-time in general. So you could do a thing where like the players swap bodies or abilities. You could do small changes to the new dinner, like maybe a different course is being served, poisoned food. So, you know, just the general jolting of the space-time continuum has caused things to kind of just go awry in general. That also adds tension for them because it's like, well, what's next? You could also do major effects to the timeline, like the wish spell allowed them to rewind 2 hours in their timeline, but maybe that doesn't apply to the world around them. So as a result, maybe a disastrous event happens, like in a nearby town that they were supposed to save, but they couldn't because they moved time. Overall, I think it's a really great idea, and I think that, like I said, there's tons of different ways you can go with it, or multiple ways. It's, you know, I think that it was a nice reward of you to allow for them to do that, because, like I said, and I'm super guilty of this. I do it all the time, and I've also been fortunate enough to have DMs who are cool like that and just kind of like let it slide. Do a little retcon, that's fine, but also that adds a layer of, you know, there's consequence for that. There's cost for that. Just because their memories are intact doesn't mean their bodies are intact. Bring them back as NPCs. Watched something earlier this week where a D&D party was in a tournament and they rolled up on a Tarrasque, and before the battle commenced, one of the party wished that the Tarrasque was someone else's problem. So the DM went to the ref and told him he was going on The ref okayed it, so the DM took the Tarask figurine, put it on another group's table, and said, "Your problem now." That's pretty awesome. Let's see. They go back, but their past selves are still there murder hoboing. Yeah, the BBEG also remembers. The BBEG also has his memory. Just because their memories are intact doesn't mean their bodies are intact. Everybody suffers from the strongest deja vu ever. Makes everyone suspicious. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point. You could, like, explore the memories that they have. Maybe some of their memories start to kind of overlap. Or this could be a cool time to implement conditions. So, confusion, fatigue, jet lag from traveling time. Those are cool things that will put, if you don't want to do the memory thing where you are giving them kind of like a little bit of a reset there, then you could just punish their characters so that the encounter itself, that the exchange itself is more difficult for that reason. Or they could wish the BBEG was someone else's problem. By the way, follow-up question. Does the luck blade with the one use of wish still exist? Did that get retconned? Because I'll tell you what, if your players haven't asked you that, they're gonna. Or they should. Because then you've put yourself in a loop where you can just kind of like keep doing it. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe they have to do it again. They find out that being the murder hobos was the correct choice. The obligatory river comment about insanity. Make a save to retain your memories. Oh, that is a good point too. Yeah, just going crazy. Being able to make a, what would that be? I guess it'd be will, yeah? Maybe intelligence? Probably more likely will. And you just roll for that. And you could make up your own thing if you wanted. You could just make it as to where they take damage or like they don't retain the memories. I like the idea of them not retaining the memories because if there's a chance that they like lose them, like that's what you should do. Well, you do what you want. But what I would do, what I would at least lead with is the idea that like, okay, so you remember what went down, so you know not to do that. But at any moment, you might forget. And that becomes immediately perilous, right? Because, like, if you've got somebody, and I don't know how the first encounter went. You know better than I do. But if you've got somebody like a bard that made a bad joke, and that's what started getting the BBEG pissed off, and then that bard fails his sanity check or his will check to retain those memories from the time travel, and then he forgets everything, he's going to tell that joke again. In which case, if you do that, you should have him be able to get to the luck blade and wish again, to start it again. If they went back in time, then the luck blade gets its one wish back. Yeah, right? I think that's how that works. Retaining memories is good because the players are likely to metagame anyway. Yeah, that's true. That is a tough one to not meta. Especially, like, I don't know the details of what the exchange and stuff was, but I do also like the idea of maybe not the BBEG, maybe the BBEG, because then you could add, like, a fun layer of RP to that, where it's like the BBEG remembers, but they're acting like they don't, to just kind of, like, lure them into lull them into a false sense of security, where it's like, oh, this is great, he doesn't even know what happened. And then it's like, meanwhile, he knows what happened. Groundhog Day. Yeah. You keep hitting that wish button and going back 2 hours. That might actually be fun as well. Especially like with you as the DM, then you could throw a lot of different things at them where they're kind of stuck in this loop. So maybe set it up to where maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the consequence, is that they have to wish again. That's an interesting loop to get out of. Man, that's such a cool idea. I like that. I think that any of those will work. I think that there were some good ideas I threw out there. I think chat had some good ideas. They could have to fight their past selves back to the blade before it's used. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. Maybe you do this time they go through it, and whatever the outcome, they end up in that same room in the dungeon with the luck blade, and their past selves are there. And if you wanted to get really crazy with it, you could make it so that their past selves did like a rewind before they made the first wish. One time they come back as the dish is being served as dinner, then Groundhog Loop, what next? Yeah, it seems like a very like montageable situation. So, yeah, monkey's paw. Be careful what you wish for, they say. I think any of that stuff will work. I think it's fun. Please update us on what happened with that, because that's a cool scenario. I'd be interested to hear how it all pans out. Alrighty, so thank you for the question, Trevor. We have 4 more questions. We'll do a little chat, and then I'm going to get out of here. The next question is from Chris. I should always just say Chris if I'm not sure, because it's a really good chance that it's from Chris. And Chris asks, hey Charles, I hope all is well with you and yours. How do you think each of the classes would react to getting a parking ticket? Thank you for the question, Chris. This was fun. This is also another fun exercise to do as to what that would be. All right, so let me know in chat what you think, but I've got stuff written down. The barbarian, I think, would tear it up in a rage. The bard would take it to court and treat it like a performance, right? So I feel like the bard would not even care so much about fighting the ticket as much as it like gives them an opportunity to have an audience. Even if that audience is just like the judge and the police officer. Cleric would begrudgingly pay for the ticket, but write a letter to the city. The druid would say a prayer for the tree that was killed to make the paper on which the ticket was printed. The fighter would take it to court and win. The monk would meditate on it and just pay it online. The paladin would never get a parking ticket because the paladin always parks legally. The ranger wouldn't get a parking ticket because they don't have a car. The rogue would put it in the glove compartment with all the others. The sorcerer would destroy it with magic. The wizard would sue the city and win. The warlock would just leave it on the windshield and drive home. They have, okay, if you found a genie in a lamp, oh, wait a minute, this is a different thing. Barb would try to seduce his way out of it. Barbarian would rip it up. Druid would throw it in the recycling. Cleric would pay it. Rogue would put it on someone else's car. Oh, that's a better one. I didn't think of that. I said the rogue would put it in the glove compartment with all the others, but that's actually better. The rogue would do that. Put it on someone else's car. Do you know who I am card? Oh, Shadowheart. All right, hold on. What does this say? If you found a genie in a lamp, could you use the last wish to go back in time just before you found the lamp and Tony Stark that stuff like the Infinity Gauntlet and keep all the stuff and then get more wishes to continue getting more stuff by using the last wish to always go back? I don't know if that would work. That sounds like that may be against the rules. The paladin would say, "Do you know who I am?" Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Depends on the paladin. A paladin in my eyes has always been like, and this is probably tied into the fact that it was my first character that I played and I didn't understand alignments, but I always associate the paladin with just like a super duper lawful good, following all the rules type of cat. Thief would shrug it off, car stolen anyway. Yeah, no doubt. I have never gotten a parking ticket. In fact, I've never gotten a ticket. Knock on wood, I suppose. But I'd say that I'm a pretty evasive driver, maybe. No, I think I'm a cautious driver. But, you know, in Florida, it's crazy down here with the traffic. Rogue would actually pickpocket the ticketer and put the ticket in the meter maid's pocket. Yeah. Give it back to you. Here, you drop this. You pay this. This is your problem now. All right. So that's the first 4. We've got 3 more questions. We can chat a little bit. So the 5th question is from Gordon. And Gordon asks, "Greetings, DM. I'm not sure if or when you'll read or answer this, as I'm still catching up on the bardadvice back catalog. But as a fan of Would You Rather questions, I thought I'd toss one your way. Both in-game and IRL, would you rather be able to teleport or fly? Keep on keeping on." Thank you for the question, Gordon. You keep on keeping on yourself. So, would I rather teleport or fly? Well, I think also it depends on what we're speaking about from a mechanic standpoint, because as I understand it in D&D, I think the teleport rule is a 10-foot jump and you have to be able to see. Whereas typically fly, I think like even a base fly speed, is a base fly speed 30 or is it 60? Either way, being able to fly, just the utility that provides for combat and just general movement, I think it's interesting, because I think in game, I feel like I would rather be able to fly, but in real life, I'd rather be able to teleport. Because like I know, like I get it. I'm a really impatient person, and I'm sure that flying through the open sky is incredibly cool and therapeutic. The ability to get anywhere instantaneously is just too appealing to me. I mean, even if in the real world I was operating under the teleport rules of D&D where it's 10 feet that I can see, just the idea of being able to like look into my living room and just then be in there like instantaneously. Yeah, that's that's the phenomenon that's been happening to me lately, and I don't know. I've always kind of like not gotten along completely with electronics as far as them like working, or like in a way that they're supposed to. We're just in general having like, issues, and I wonder about that. If that has I'd love teleport. Teleport for speed, fly for sightseeing. That's a good idea, yeah. Well, that's assuming that you have the option for both. If you've just got the one, I just want to be able to teleport somewhere. But, that's what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought earlier. The weird phenomenon that's been happening to me lately is like not only in just generally as an artist, but in like programs and stuff. I'm starting to, maybe it's because I move so quickly and click stuff so fast, but I'm starting to like, people are thinking I'm a bot. It happened to me on well, that was part of the issue with with my exam and stuff, but then also like just in general lately, it's weird. When I released the Satisfactory music, one of the comments on there is like talking about how I'm botting comments, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna just start telling people that I'm AI. I'm gonna just start making TikToks where I'm just like, yo, I'm a Cylon. I'm just letting y'all know. I'll make it like one of those apology videos, and I'll just make just call it like I'm sorry, and post it like on the Man Short channel, and then just like have it be a confession about how like I'm AI, and how I've not been real the whole time, and just lean into it. Just make that like a new thing I do. It's just like me being AI. If teleport works like night crawlers and I could take stuff of people with me, teleport hands down. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Can you retain things with you? Well, I guess in teleport, like with the spell, or the way that the ability works in D&D is that you can take people with you. So I suspect you'd be able to take things with you. Nice throwback with the Cylon. Yeah, that's actually relevant to one of the questions tonight. So that's why I thought of it. Bardbot. If we could teleport, then we could finally be able to move an object from Earth to another adjacent planet and from spaceship to spaceship at warp speed. Yeah. Well, I don't know about 10 feet at a time, though. Bardborg. Resistance is futile. Assimilate. Teleport gives too many opportunities for error. Teleworking into ways, elevation issues, etc. Yeah, that's not a bad point as to, if I just because I can see it and I'm going to teleport over there, I don't necessarily control how I materialize over there. So, plus depending on how much control you have over the ability, you might, look too hard at a vending machine and end up inside of it, Botting comments is basically creating fake engagement by having bot accounts leave random comments so your video gets more visibility. Oh, gee whiz, if I was doing that, I'd tell you I'd have a whole heck of a lot more views and subscribers. I don't have the energy for that. I don't even market my content properly. You think I have time to bot accounts? Flight runs into issues such as temperature or lack of oxygen from flying too high. Yeah, that's a good point. It gets real cold. Plus, there's planes and birds and stuff. And, talk about something going wrong. It's one thing if you teleport and, you fall a couple of feet or something, or you land weird. But if you're just like, 15,000 feet up and something goes wrong, that's a long way down. Crom Peterson. Crom Peterson is a whole different thing, dude. But you could take things with you or one. Oh, yeah, that's true. If you were able to remain clothed through your teleporting, then that would assume that you'd be able to retain objects as you moved through. But yeah, Nightcrawler. Who else teleports? Isn't there somebody else that teleports besides Nightcrawler? Doesn't Deadpool teleport? In some stuff, right? I don't know. But yeah, definitely teleport. Flying, I think, is just, I don't know. I don't want to say overrated because it's like most people, nobody can fly by themselves. But I'm sure that pilots would be like, you're out of your mind. It's beautiful up there. Deadpool kind of does what he wants. Yeah, and I also said, I suppose the mechanics matter. 5e says teleport range is 10 feet. Then again, it would be pretty great to just look at my living room. It would definitely speed up my ability to move around and just do stuff in general. That's my thing. I'm all about enhancing like my personal efficiency. So whatever makes things, any kind of automation, that's one of the reasons I like this game so much. But, just trying to be as efficient as possible. In some stuff, Deadpool has a teleportation gizmo. It's not a power of his. A belt for a while. Okay. Yeah, I knew that at some point it existed because I remember maybe it was like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or something where you can teleport with them. Pilot here, totally fly. I have dreams where I fly and they're wonderful. I bet. That's a wild experience, I'm sure. But rather be able to materialize through matter. Oh, yeah, like walking through walls. That'd be pretty neato. Just walk through bank vaults and stuff. But could you keep stuff with you? Could you like go in somewhere and take stuff and then go out? Not that I'm promoting the first thing you do with your ability to materialize through matter is theft, but just out of curiosity, what are the mechanics on that? I don't know. Teleport for sure for me. It's always going to be a teleport for me, just because that's something that I could use right now. Fly, I feel like, is a thing where it would be a much better probably overall like experience and be kind of neat to just like, but I would probably just like teleport my way to where I needed to go. Nightcrawler, Hope Summers, John Wraith, Pixie Magic, Azazel, Blink, and Apocalypse. Dang. That is a lot. Howdy, Avram. No worries. If you're not late if you're here, right? Is that the rule? You're not late if you're here. If you're here, you're not late. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Thank you for the question, Gordon. That was fun. The next question is from John. And John asks, First of all, John, I'd like to thank you this week for not asking me about the Jaguars. But John asks, hey, Chaz, last episode you talked about the game Satisfactory. Is that something that you plan on streaming or releasing videos for? What is it about the game that makes you enjoy it so much? Happy Halloween. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. And again, like I said, thank you for not asking about the Jags, because that's just a nightmare that we don't need to discuss. So, yeah, Satisfactory. Man, it's so good. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. So this is what I wrote about it. I've been recording our sessions. So as soon as we get done with the Baldur's Gate 3 video, which should be in the next few weeks, I know that we haven't had those the last 2 weeks. Sorry, I've been just busy studying and stuff, but those will return. There's probably, I'm thinking like between 2 and 4 episodes of that left. So probably another month of that. But I might start releasing the Satisfactory stuff earlier than that. I don't know. I've got a lot of that. Content recorded. So, depending on how extensive it is, I might try to make some or all of the songs on the Satisfactory Music album into music videos. Admittedly, part of my love for the game is because I'm fortunate enough to play it with some of my lifelong friends, and it's been a bit nostalgic because we've always gamed together, and we used to have a Minecraft server years ago, and now we have a server for this. So Satisfactory, if you don't know, is a factory game, and I talked about it on last episode. It's a builder, essentially. So essentially your character is what's called a pioneer, and you work for a corporation called Fix-It. And as part of the Save the Day program, you build stuff, notably factories. So when you first get in there, when you first get to the planet, you have to find iron ore, limestone, copper, and then use miners to extract that ore, smelt it into ingots, and then construct those ingots into things. It's pretty fun and easy early, and it definitely gets more complicated as you not only explore the map, but also just like the things that you're producing and creating with your machines get more and more advanced. Part of why it's so good to me is you can tell that it's a real labor of love. Like, the developers seemingly thought of everything, and I'm pretty consistently surprised by it. And sometimes it can be frustrating because it is difficult. Like, it's not easy. It is at first, particularly with multiple people, because you can play it solo or you can play it with friends. And we've been playing on our server, and we're getting to be late game. I think we're at like the last tier and maybe the last phase of the space elevator. Factory building FPS. Oh yeah, Cody will tell you. It's tougher later game, but there's also like fun to it because I was talking to my friends about this. Like, recently I made the aluminum factory, and it was just like not a great process, but mostly because it was just like bad planning. And I've laid the groundwork for plans to make a magnetic field generator factory, and I'm kind of excited for that because the game's so complex that there's a website that's dedicated to just being like a production planner where you put stuff in and it just kind of does the math for you as to like how many machines you're going to need. It is co-op, it's cooperative. So it's just, basically it's just you and your friends building factories to produce materials that you need for stuff to save the day for Fix-It Incorporated. Satisfactory like StarCraft or Civ in the aspect where you have to build things but out of the battle. It's not really like StarCraft or Civ because, for one, it's FPS. So, and, there are enemies, quote unquote, like in the game, but you're not ever really like in constant battle. They really just kind of like guard stuff that you need, like nodes and, power slugs and stuff. But I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. It's so fun. SPF. I like the clear division between good and evil as compared to reality, where the lines are more blurred. D&D versus reality. I think I played a Simpsons like that in a Lord of the Rings game. First person. Yeah, I guess this is just a first person RPG. It's big fun. I like it a lot. And, I think it has a high replayability because not only do they have, the map's really big and there are basically 4 main spawns. But even if I spawn in the same place, I feel like it has a really high replayability because you just get better at being able to do stuff. And so there's some stuff that I haven't gotten to do that I would like to do on a replay or in the future. And some stuff that I've already done that I would like the opportunity to do again better, more effectively. So I really like it, and I highly recommend it to anybody because it's been a whole lot of fun. So thank you for that question, Jim. John, not Jim. John, and again, thank you for not asking about that other thing that we don't want to talk about, who should not be named. Like a mass Minecraft. It's kind of like Minecraft, but not really. Because like in Minecraft, I feel like you build everything yourself, where in this game, it's more about getting everything automated. So there are elements of it that are like Minecraft, but it's mostly like math because you're just trying to automate things at as a high efficiency as possible. They did win 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I know, but that was so long ago, and it's only one. How are we supposed to go on? All right. Well, thank you for the question, John. The last question of the evening is also from Chris. So we'll go through this, and then we'll do a little chat. This will be a nice one to kind of lead into chat because it's not, well, you'll see. So Chris asks, if you could rewatch a whole TV series for the first time, which would it be? Thank you for the question, Chris. There's a bunch, and this was actually kind of difficult for me to really narrow down. But this is the callback to earlier when I was talking about the Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons. It's Battlestar Galactica. That show is so good. And I'm talking about the one that was made in like the early 2000s, which was like technically a remake with Katie Sackhoff and all them. Wow. It's so good. And I would just love the opportunity to like see it as if I was seeing it for the first time again. The question was, what show, if you could rewatch a whole TV series for the first time, which would it be? And my answer is Battlestar Galactica. So getting to experience all of that again for the first time is great. I think maybe Doctor Who is in there a little bit. Although to be fair, I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan. I really kind of only like David Tennant Doctor Who. But Stargate, Firefly. I've got Firefly on my list. But real quickly on Battlestar, like it's just so well written and it's so cool. And it doesn't feel rushed or drawn out. 4 seasons they got in, they told their story, they got out, which I respect. A lot of times shows will just keep going for the sake of the fact that they're popular or they're making money, and it's like this doesn't necessarily serve the story. I think it's important to know when to walk away, I suppose. So other runner-ups that I didn't choose: Sopranos, Firefly, The Office, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Freaks and Geeks, South Park, The Wire, Breaking Bad. This is also assuming that it would, I'm getting to see it again for the first time. Because I think all of those are really, really good. Stargate. Wow, a lot of Stargates. Well, I guess just 2, but that's more than one. stuff. If I could wipe my memory and rewatch Breaking Bad, Firefly, Ozark, Supernatural, probably a ton of others. I never could get into Supernatural. It's didn't they make like 20 seasons of that show? I'd like to see Firefly for the first time, but this time at the same time as everyone else. Missed out on the group experience of it. Oh, sorry to hear that. I was fortunate in having a group experience with Firefly because I think it was like half of us had seen it and the other half hadn't. And so we all watched it together, and that was great. The only reason that I didn't pick Firefly is because of the bittersweet nature of the fact that in addition to like really loving it and enjoying it again, I would also have to again come to terms with the fact that they could have easily run that show for like 10, 15 years, and just like with the general setup of everything, and it just got canceled. And it's just, and good on them, I think, for finishing up the story and tying off loose ends with Serenity, but still, I would not be thrilled to relive that realization again because, man, that was tough. I'm not sure if I was warned or not. I don't remember. Warehouse 13, Dexter was great, Farscape, Buffy. Oh, Buffy's a good one. Star Trek, several of them. Next Gen, that'd be dope. Getting to watch Next Gen all like it was brand new, that'd be real dope. Janestown is the best episode. Yeah, probably. Is it called Janestown or a main called Jane? I guess it is Janestown. Supernatural was supposed to end after 5 seasons when Eric Kripke was in charge. After he left, they kept it on life support for 15 seasons. Yikes. That seems a bit excessive. The Simpsons you could do that with. Oh, yeah. Yeah, South Park definitely for me. Some of those are just... I gotta say, I think that those guys, I think Trey Parker and Matt Sohn are like some of the better writers of our generation, like of this point in human history. And it's like, yeah, it's like a bunch of goofy jokes, and it's a cartoon, but man, they're so brilliant, those two. Janestown. Can we all move this conversation into a not Jane's fault sort of direction? Haven't seen New Blood yet. Oh, this is the Dexter stuff. Never got really into Dexter either, which is odd because it seems like it would be right up my alley. I think I watched like the first season, maybe? I don't know. I didn't really get hooked into it. If I'm watching anything, I'm going to be... my wife and I have been talking about rewatching The Sopranos because that's so good. Won't be like watching it for the first time, but after seeing that documentary, it's like, man. And also after watching The Penguin. Oh, dude. Okay, so we're officially in chat. Thanks for that question, Chris, because this is good. Because The Penguin, I'm telling y'all, you need to go watch The Penguin. Colin Farrell carries, but it's good. Watching ER for the first time. Oh, man. I never watched that either. And by the way, is Grey's Anatomy still on television? Are they in like season 26 or something? There was a show called Mr. Robot, but not sure I could put myself through that again. Being a chemist, wasn't interested in it. Stargate, yeah, I imagine. Stargate Wormhole Extreme, episode 100 is awesome. Vampire Diaries, the originals. Grey's is still on, and it's season 21. Yikes. That's like Law & Order SVU. Aren't they in like 21, 22? Mariska Hargitay. That's a badass lady. You don't want to cross Olivia Benson's path. Good Place. I never saw that either. I've heard good things about it, though. It's Kristen Bell, yeah? Wasn't that like a network show? House. Yeah. Not Game of Thrones. I'll tell you that. I could say that for certain. Wouldn't want to put myself through that again. No thanks. But maybe Friends. I used to really, really love that show when I was like in high school and like in my early 20s. A really big Friends fan. There's so many series I'd love to watch again for the first time. Shonda said she will continue so long as the woman who plays Meredith wants to. That's wild. MASH. Interesting. X-Files. X-Files is a good one. Ooh-wee. If I could go into the X-Files just totally blind, that'd be good. It's just a nice show that incorporates philosophy into being a good person. Oh, nice. Well, that's good. You know, everybody should try and strive for that, I suppose. That is a good point, though. I saw the question earlier. Good things of the week. Where are we with good things for the week? I'd say my good thing for the week is that we got those nominations. That's really nice. Like I said, it makes me feel good. It's nice to be and honestly, not even just like on a personal level. Like, it's just nice to be a part of like a successful team. Because I feel like year in and year out, we at least get nominated. We're at least in the conversation for best film and stuff. And so, and it's always cool as well to like see them bring that to life where, like I said, most of my job is Friday night. So do the script and then best of luck, folks. And they go out there and they kill it. And it's pretty cool how it all comes together. So it's nice to get all those nominations. Good things of the week. Talking about shows still. Oh, you know what is a good one? Cheers. I wish I could watch Cheers again all the way through for the first time. And Wings while I'm at it, dude. Wings is underrated. Thundercats. Movies I'd love to see. Blade Runner for the first time. Millennium. Ted Danson was great in The Good Place. Twilight Zone. Talk about football. Tampa's playing the Ravens at home this week. Oh, good luck. Lamar's been on a tear. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Milton. He took Milton took the roof off Tropicana, so they're gonna have to be playing somewhere else. I don't know. I don't really know what happened with anything else. It's weird. Like I feel like after that storm kind of like got slowed down, like everybody stopped talking about it. You know what I mean? Like when it was a 5, it was like everybody in the nation was like, "Oh my gosh, it's coming for Florida." And then like I think it ultimately hit as a 3, and like obviously it still did a lot of damage and certainly displaced people, but it wasn't nearly as intensive as it initially looked like it would be. And so like as a result, it's just like everybody's just moved on to talk about something else. It's weird. We did fine. It was barely even an issue for us. And part of that is because we're so far inland as well as like far north. Because, I mean, this thing pretty much hit Tampa. I think maybe slightly south of Tampa. And so, we just get some of the bands. A lot of times we're really fortunate where we are. I saw a meme about like us making some sort of a pact with a demon or something to not get hit bad by hurricanes in Jacksonville. Because if you look at like the last several years of major hits, it's like, but I mean, also part of that is that, like I said, we're inland. So even if a storm hits real hard, by the time it gets to us, it's slowed down pretty significantly going over the land. So still in school, yes, still working stuff. Had to reschedule for the end of the month for my exams, but yes. Harley, a good thing of the week, it's finally your day off. Crazy at work lately. Well, enjoy your time off. Sorry to hear things are crazy. Harley is down, but the Mustang's ready to get tags. If I were doing good things of the week, you're down to 215 from 280 in January of 23. Wow, that's fantastic, Pirate. Good for you. I need to get on some sort of a health plan. Ravens just lost, yeah, but still, Lamar's been in his bag, I feel like, lately. But, I mean, so has Baker, so that'd be interesting. That'd be a nice win for y'all. I feel like if Tampa gets that win, they're going to start really being taken seriously and talked about more. Settle for some new mediocre shows that have a serious story, but still some jokes, humor, while not being a comedy. Everything else seems to be extreme or the other now, it seems. Yeah, that's true. And comedy is super hot right now, probably just because, like, the state of the world, like, post-COVID has just been a little bleak, I think, for most people in general. So, it's good to laugh. Comedy's real popular. A lot of the, all the major studios right now are looking for comedy, so... Told my family Milton is like an old man standing on the porch yelling, "Get off my lawn," and then he tires himself out yelling, so he takes a nap. Helene was supposed to drop 3 to 5 inches of rain. Blessed that we didn't get it. Sorry for North Carolina. Yeah, that's real sad up there. There's, it's just not, it's just not, the infrastructure's not there. Those places are not only not geographically designed, but the cities, the infrastructure, it's not set up for hurricanes. So, in St. Pete and Milton made landfall in Sarasota. Going for heart surgery next week. Hope it goes well. Best of luck, Mike. Hope it goes well. Still alive after a heart attack and now pneumonia after losing our penny to a horrible allergic reaction to a drug. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Help through cancer diagnosis, treatments, losing Ron's dad. Dang. Yeah, they say those things come in threes. I'm sorry to hear that, Ruby, but you're resilient. You're a fighter and a survivor, so I'm sure you'll be all right. Sorry to hear that you're dealing with that, though. Just smoked the Saint. You did indeed. That was crazy. Saints are kind of falling apart, though, dude. They just got whooped by Denver. Saints are kind of imploding. Be up for a good sci-fi show to escape chaos of reality. There's nothing of value in the pipe. Yeah, I don't know. Depends on what you're into. I'm super into, like, reality TV. There's a lot of that. There's never a shortage of that. Gee whiz. Humans, I think, are more interesting than any kind of plot. But, all right. Well, what are we? Here we are at time. Yeah, we got to get out of here. Here we are again at the end, folks. I can't believe it. It always goes by so quickly. Thank you all for joining me this evening. It's been fun. Before we get out of here, let's do the housekeeping that we like to do. First is remind everybody of the email for the show, which is bardadvice@gmail.com. It also looks like bardadvice. Please send all your questions, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques, etc. to bardadvice@gmail.com. If you want to get some merch, do so over at manshorts.com or go over to krakendice.com. Get yourself one of the Manshorts Kraken combo dice sets. If you want to contribute to anything that I do musically, do so directly at PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, all of which are Yazik, YAHZICK. Thank you again to all of our patrons, members, super chatters. Remind everybody to please like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, rate the podcast, join the Discord. Let's see. I think that's it. I think we're out of here. So thank you all again for joining. We will be back next week, same Bard time, same Bard channel, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Man Shorts YouTube channel. The audio for this podcast, as always, will be made available tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time. I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend and an even better week, and we will see you next time.